Hi, welcome back. In this video I'm going to show you how I created two mixed media landscapes based on my recent trip to Provence. I set my timer for 20 minutes and I tried to capture their essence, not to create a polished masterpiece. Halfway through I'll talk more about how time studies can develop your artistic skills in a focused and efficient manner. I'm Omar, I'm an artist, illustrator and author. I help artists improve their skills by sharing my knowledge from filling over 40 sketchbooks. When I do a time study, I lay out all the materials that I think I might need. I might not use all of them, but in this case I use coloured pencils, watercolour and acrylic markers. These are some of the photos that I took when I was in Year, my art retreat in Provence. On one of the days we had scheduled to go to Ile-de-Porquerolles, not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Sorry if I've butchered it. We went on a bike ride and there was a beautiful beach called Plage de Notre Dame, and it's this one here. So I think that is going to be one of the images that I'm going to be painting for this time study. And the other one is probably this one where we had our lunch. So I've put the two images in a separate file in my iPad just for landscapes, and I'll be referring to them throughout because I'll be working on them simultaneously so that I use the same colours in each. I'm going to put 20 minutes on my timer here. Let's get going. First of all, what I see is on that first landscape or seascape, the horizon is about here, the landscape starts about here. Before I forget, I'm going to just make this into a panel just so that I know where the edges are. Sometimes I do this, sometimes I don't, it just depends. Sometimes I do create a bit of a pencil outline, sometimes I don't. It just depends what kind of mood I'm in and how confident I'm feeling. It does something like that, and then we have this tree coming across at about a quarter of the way up, and branches do something like that, and don't know whether to include this other tree. It would probably be quite good because it will give a better sense of what it was like, I feel. Just a little reminder, if you're enjoying this demo, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more artistic adventures. I'm going to start off with applying some of this green with the Liquitex marker. Oh, there we go. I always have to test it out like that because it does have a tendency to just splurt out if you've seen my other video when that happened. So I'm just going to apply that really quickly now, just to get the basic shapes in. And all the way here. Because it's a time study, I'm more concerned with getting this green down in certain areas fast rather than making anything pretty at this point. Yeah, all this is basically green, very, very dark green. And there's sprigs of green here, which is silhouetted against that sky. And it's sort of got a windswept type look. One of the reasons I love using these liquid acrylic markers is because you can have a big chisel tip like this, but also turn it on its side and you can get slightly different marks, and it does cover the page quickly. Okay, that'll do. Okay, how many minutes did I use doing that? Oh, I used 4 minutes doing that. Okay, so let me do the same on this side, because I want the two pieces to harmonise, because they were taken about an hour apart on the same island. And we've got the trees leaning in. There's a bit of perspective at work here because I was looking up at the trees. One here, one here. There's a lovely patch of blue where you can see the sea through these grove of trees. I don't know, I There is a tree just about here, but I don't think I'm going to include that in this particular version. Green in between the trunks here. Acrylic markers can be quite messy. They have a tendency to splurge out, and when they dry up they get quite scratchy, but I do like the textures that they create. Let me know if you would like another video specifically on using acrylic markers. So the trees are behind this trunk here. Stretch out this little one over, quite a way over actually. I'm quite surprised. They've got this lovely arch here. Hold on, let me try and scoop up some of this excess green. Every time I look at this reference image, I see something different, and I might change my mind about certain shapes and what to include and what to leave out, so that I only capture the main details. Because that original blue textured background didn't extend upwards into the sky, I'm going to have to add some more of the sky poking through the trees in this piece. Gosh, my palette is a bit of a mess. Yeah, you can see how that's coming through. Oh my gosh, my brush is also incredibly dirty. I haven't thought this through, have I? I'm using turquoise blue to match some of that texture that's already there, and I've realised that it's actually mixing up with some of that green acrylic, so I'm going to have to leave it to dry a little bit more and then come back to them at a later time. Now I need to work on those tree trunks. Because it's just so dark, it's so silhouetted. Might add a touch of the burnt umber in there, but you can hardly tell that it's brown. Because I like to load my brush with a lot of pigment and wash, it does take quite a while to dry, and normally I would have a hairdryer on hand to speed up the process. Okay, and oh, it's starting to spread out a bit where it's still wet. Oh, oh dear. All right, I'll have to just deal with that. I'll have to add some of those branches later then, at this rate. Never mind, that's one of the problems with working with watercolour. Other artists, when they do time studies, might use colour pencils, pastels or neocolours because they are dry media, and I do sometimes wonder if I should start doing that as well, then I wouldn't be having this challenge. While that is drying, let's deal with these ones. Now this has the trunks in this one, in this scene, are a little bit more dappled, but I can still use the Payne's grey but add more water to it so they're a little bit more pigmented. Little less pigmented, sorry, not more pigmented. I might need to add a bit more brown to this because I can actually see it. And this one here. For me, I think the time limitation pushes me to swiftly identify the lightest and darkest areas quickly, and this helps me to see the areas of greatest contrast, and then this leads to stronger compositions and a more impactful visual piece. Oh, right, how are we doing for time? I've got 10 minutes left. Okay, right, I've got to stop talking. I'm just going to get on with it. Also, as you practice, I think you'll gain a better understanding of how to lead the viewer's eye through your artwork and create something that's more visually engaging. I think I should actually move to a slightly thinner brush up here, just so that these branches are so much finer, and I want to have them silhouetted against that blue. Trying to make this more of a focal point. So let's talk more about my top 5 reasons for undertaking time studies like these. Your observational skills will be greatly enhanced. The limited time forces you to focus on the most important elements of your subject, enhancing your observational skills and helping you to identify the key shapes, lines, and values. Furthermore, with time constraints, you have to make quick decisions about composition, perspective, and which details you want to emphasize the most. This will give you a lot more confidence with decision making in your artwork. Time studies will also encourage you to work quickly and decisively, improving your ability to capture the essential details in a much shorter time frame. And this efficiency can translate to a lot more productive art session. A really important point is time studies will help you overcome perfectionism. The time pressure discourages overthinking and perfectionism. This allows you to loosen up and experiment a lot more freely in your sketchbook. I feel when I'm under time pressure, I produce a lot more expressive gestural marks and fluid strokes, which can lend your artwork to a more dynamic and energetic quality. I really love seeing this in my own artwork. Furthermore, by setting specific time limits, you can challenge yourself to study a wide range of subjects from still life and landscapes to figures and architecture, which will broaden your artistic versatility. Also, tracking your time studies over a period of time like I've been doing allows you to see visible improvement as you become a lot more confident and adept at capturing key elements quickly and effectively. And time constraints prompts you to find innovative ways to present your subject matter, promoting creative problem-solving skills in order to cover that page faster, perhaps combining media or being looser with the pencil lines. Right, I think I've got about 2 minutes left. Oh my gosh. Just want to make sure that this tree in particular is just make it very prominent. Where's my Posca pen? I don't know if I can add the that bay we can see on the other side just using a Posca pen. It's wet, but you know, that's actually not bad. I think that will have to do. Oh my gosh. Okay, we got a minute and a half. Okay, let's go back. Okay, let's do this. Here, and it is just the silhouette of these trees. They're so kind of iconic for this region. I can't remember the type of pine tree this is. I know I'm running out of time here, and as the clock is counting down, it's really important to just concentrate and give your full attention to what's happening on this page, and you'll be able to figure out what the most important stuff is and where to spend that time wisely. When you focus like this, you're not just drawing, you're making a stronger connection. So this way, when you're working fast, your drawing still looks intentional. All right, hold on. I'm going to pause that. I'm going to give myself an extra 5 minutes because I'm just not going to make it otherwise. All right, 5 minutes to get this side of the page sorted out. This tree in particular is like a skeleton. There's very little greenery on here. Right, in between here, I think it's still a little bit wet, but I need to define the that trunk a little bit better. Add that mountain, sorry, not the mountain, the hill. And that is kind of a blue-green. Probably needs a bit more Payne's grey in places. And you can see a hint of a bay across here as well. Well, that trunk is supposed to be much darker than that background, so I probably need to lighten up this background of the wooded hills. All this is just kind of a yellowy green. Very, very vibrant, very bright. I really don't like this area here. If you're new or have never done time studies, then working this way might feel a little bit overwhelming, but I do urge you to try because I think it's given me an incredible amount of confidence. Successfully completing time studies builds confidence as an artist because you demonstrate to yourself your ability to work under pressure and produce some really great results. Also, the time management side of things, when you practice these type of studies, it hones your ability to be more effective with
the time frame that you have. And this is a really valuable skill that extends beyond art into different areas of your life. And as you can see, these studies are very rough and ready, and these are meant to be perhaps foundation for more finished artworks. The skills that you gain from the time studies can carry through over to larger or more detailed artworks. So as you become more adept at establishing strong compositions or looking at values, you can bring all this information that you've gathered from time studies. Also, I think repeated time studies reinforces your visual memory, and you can recall and replicate forms and values from memory, leading to better retention of shapes and textures and proportions. So remember, the goal of time studies is not always to create a polished masterpiece, but to develop your artistic skills. We are not living in Instagram land. I want to really emphasize that, because it will take time. And over time, these exercises can greatly contribute to your growth as an artist and your ability to tackle a wide range of artistic challenges and build up your resilience as an artist, which we all need. You saw me add an extra 5 minutes, and I realized that I really needed to make the most of that time, and it laser focused what my next steps should be. I really didn't have any sort of a plan. You can see me add watercolour on top of the acrylic, and then I might add pencil on top of the watercolour. There's no rules when I'm doing a time study. I just have to slap it on as quickly as possible and hope for the best. And it's often in these moments that the most innovation and growth takes place. When the clock is ticking, there's often less time to overthink your decisions, and this can encourage you to take risks and experiment with techniques, styles and approaches you might not have considered otherwise. These experiments can lead to unexpected breakthroughs and all kinds of innovative artistic directions. As a recovering perfectionist myself, I think a time study is a significant benefit, because when you're working against the clock, there simply isn't enough time to scrutinize every line and detail, which can be really liberating. Although perfectionism is well intended, it often acts as a roadblock in creative growth. With less time to dwell on making everything perfect, you begin to realize that art can flourish in imperfection, and you find yourself embracing those unexpected marks and the happy accidents. And this will give your work a unique and genuine character. And this type of freedom allows you to explore and encourages you to go even deeper with your creative output. I'm going to be honest with you, there was a point probably about 2/3 of the way through when I thought, I hate this. I really don't want to continue with this. I want to turn over the page, pretend I never started this. But looking at it now, I've had to walk away for 10 minutes and water my garden. Coming back to look at this is actually not bad. I think this is a really good impression, considering I did spend about 25 minutes doing 2 scenes. So I'm going to give myself a pat on the back and stop beating myself up, thinking, oh, I've got this on camera, I've got to make this look really good because I'm demonstrating. But it's okay. You know, I have my memories of this, and this is a pretty good version. And I remember walking down the path behind that fence there to the beach, and it was just beautiful. So for me, in my heart, these are great. If you've enjoyed my video, then please consider leaving a like, a comment, and please subscribe to my channel, because it would really help me out. Also check out my other video, Amazing Sketchbook Retreat in France 2023, where you can find out more about what I got up to in my art retreat in Provence.